You talked about some companies, in the eventuality that there's probably a consolidation, being overcapitalized to handle a particular risk. Yeah. But looking at handling risk, at least here in Nigeria, do we have domestic companies, insurance companies, that can actually handle a risk, for instance, from the oil and gas sector?
You wouldn't find that anywhere in the world.
But at least here, we have companies that have the capacity to do so.
Yeah, you see, the capacity now is relative. Capacity, I give you a little bit of a background to this. Okay. Before now, Nigeria was more like, as far as oil and gas was concerned, the business was just passing through the insurance industry without ability to retain any part of the business because of the local capital, the lack of adequate knowledge of the subject, or inadequate inadequate knowledge of the subject, if you like. But now I can say with confidence that the market retains not less than 25 to 30% of the oil and gas risk, even though this is still far below the provision or the requirement or the expectation of the Nigerian Content Act that expects that by now we should be retaining as much as 70%. But I mean, of course, this has to be done constructively and with a sense of responsibility. We don't just want to retain business just for the sake of it. But I must tell you that all over the world, insurance is all about sharing. It's an international business. It cuts across borders. The businesses you take here, somebody in the UK, somebody somewhere is participating in that risk. And that's the way we share risk all over the world. And to that extent, we don't necessarily need to have all the capacity that is needed to retain all the businesses, imagine. But the good thing about it is that Nigeria has comparative advantage in oil and gas. And now, this is being made use of by the industry.
Let's look at another sector. Let's look at other sectors that will probably, will most likely, gain from the fact that we've hosted the World Economic Forum Africa meeting. Yeah. In a situation where you have, where they can't carry the risk, or where it seems as if it's too much pressure on them to carry this risk, how do you expect, for instance, for companies coming in to feel comfortable with doing business with insurance companies in Nigeria?
No, I want to believe that those that are coming, investors, they must have done a lot of feasibility all around the world, and they know how insurance operates globally. So when they are coming, one good thing about it is that when they come, it's not going to be a matter of concentration. There's a difference between when you are handling 2, 3, 4 companies' risk and when you're having 10 companies' risk. So when they come in and they are going to join, and you take a little bit of here and there, and it's not likely that all of them will have claims about the same time. You can have you have countries where this risk, they are so huge that other nations, insurance industry in other countries, reinsurance companies, pools are being allotted part of this risk. So I want to believe that the confidence is the fact that this is a jurisdiction where those natural mishaps that you have in most other claims they hardly occur.
Yeah, but then you also still have you still have issues that tend to come up because like right now we're grappling with the issue of security and the rest of it. Yeah. And so when such a thing happens, it is it behoves an insurance company to actually take care of the claims that will eventually come out if a business like a big business or even a medium business comes in and they suffer some loss.
Yeah, I think in terms of this risk those things that we are going through right now, probably we are about one of the nations that are just experiencing them. Some have been there long before us, and managing such risk has been part and parcel of the entire business. So the confidence is the fact that yes, this risk they will come, but the mechanism for managing them is already on ground. The most important thing is that we have a system, we have the laws in place, the legal framework is in place, we have the regulatory structure that is in place, we have operational system that is in place to manage this risk. So the entire the entire system is set to accommodate risk and provide.
So the Nigerian insurance sector is ready for business.
Oh, we are ready for business.
Okay, quickly comment on this. We have this tweet from one of our viewers. He says, how can we ensure public sector confidence in a sector that does not transfer funds in the case of death to next of kin?
Well, for me, the provision of the Pension Reform Act is that where there is claim, you transfer funds to the pensions account of the deceased. Before the Pension Reform Act was established, beneficiaries or next of kin were paid directly by the underwriting companies. But by the coming on of the Pension Reform Act, you no longer pay directly to the beneficiary, but through the account, the pensions account of those individuals. And from that point, it ceases to be the insurance company's responsibility. It now is that of the PFA, the Pension Funds Administrator, that will determine who gets what, either by letter of administration or named beneficiary.
Okay, there's another one. It says the insurance sector needs an urgent consolidation. I think their focus is divided: risk or profit.
Well, it's a combination of the two. The insurance is in business to manage risk, and in the process of managing risk, you make profit.
Another one says the sector whose aim majorly is not focused in the real sector. What then is the aim of the pool of funds with insurance company?
Well, I wouldn't know whether that will be right. Not focusing on the real sector. That is, the funds that are taken by way of facilities from the bank are part of the funds contributed by insurance companies. So you don't need to go directly to, put money in. And of course, they should remember the fact that insurance companies are investors, either through the capital market or through the money market. So to that extent, it may not be quite right that they are not focusing on the real sector.
Comment on this, if you will. The problem of fake motor insurance certificates continues to be a major challenge to the insurance industry. What is the association doing to curb the menace?
Well, this is an area that the association have taken very bold step to institute a mechanism deploying electronic means of verification. Because before now, even as you are there, they give you papers. You don't know which one is still existing and which one is not. So what we have done is to establish what we call the Nigerian Insurance Industry Database and provide mechanism for verification. And we are working in conjunction with the Federal Road Safety, with the VIO of various states, trying to get through to the police and other law enforcement agencies. And that has been working. We've test run this in Ogun State. It's presently working and working very well. And what you do is that if you notice, if you are driving on the roads in the Ogun State, somebody will wave you down and check a phone. And you just take your plate number, put it on that phone, and all your details are there. It will now confirm whether
if you have a real certificate
exactly or not. So with that, definitely it will limit and eventually eliminate fake insurances.